Hey y'all, my name is Chris and I am recording this video so that my 8-year-old son has something to edit. Um, I created a YouTube account to share my joy of crafting with people, and because my 8-year-old son is really obsessed with YouTube and wants to learn how to edit, and so I promised him I would make videos for him to start editing. So that's what this is. Um, Again, my name is Chris. I have been knitting and crocheting for over 20 years. I learned how to knit um, from my grandmother when I was really young, but didn't really start doing, um, really getting into it until I was in high school, which, to date myself a little bit, was over 20 years ago. Actually, this year would be my 20th high school reunion. So, um, yeah, it was a little over 20 years ago when I was a freshman in high school that I really started to get into knitting as an actual hobby and making things, and not just, playing around with yarn and making loops here and there. So, um, I generally will make a lot of blankets. I love making blankets for people. I also really enjoy making shawls. I didn't used to be into making amigurumi, or little stuffies, but I've found some really nice patterns, and my biggest problem was I wasn't great at sewing on the different pieces to the amigurumi. And so I know there's a huge debate right now about no sew versus low sew versus sewing, for amigurumi. I used to hate having to sew on a lot of pieces, but that was really just because I wasn't good at it. CrochetMeZaddy, another YouTuber here, he, I get, is based in Australia, has a video that guide you through how to sew on the different pieces, and that video really changed things for me because I got more confident in how to sew on different pieces, and then from there, because I really loved the way the amigurumi was turning out, I started looking for new things to make. So I've been dabbling a lot in that. I found this teddy bear pattern by, I think it's Papa Poppin' or something like that, on Etsy, um, and I really love that pattern. So I used a lot of different variegated yarns, to make it and see like how the teddy bears would turn out, and I was able to make a bunch of teddy bears using that pattern to give away for gifts for Christmas this year, and folks really loved them. So I'm enjoying that. Right now, I am making, my hand. I just washed my hands. So my hand is a little wet, and so the yarn isn't gliding over my hand the way I like to. Um, but I'm currently making a shawl. My mother-in-law, my husband's mom, um, her birthday is coming up, and so I wanted to make her a gift. So I'm making her a shawl. Just using a simple granny stitch pattern with a front post treble stitch in every other row to make this beautiful shawl. I love these colors. I'm hoping that she really likes it as well. Um, I recently finished this blanket. I was hoping to finish it before Christmas, but I didn't have the chance to. I can't remember where I got this pattern online as well. I can't remember where I got it from, but I'll definitely put a link to it in the description. I want to make sure I give people credit for the designs that they create, because designing patterns is not easy. I've been knitting and crocheting for a long time, and I am not even at a place where I feel comfortable trying to design a pattern. it's not easy for me to just remember all the stitches that I'm doing and then go back and remember to write it down in a way that other people can follow. So if you have that skill, that's an amazing skill, and I appreciate you for it and admire you for it. So I took this pattern. I believe the pattern is called like Blizzard Morning. The creator has a hexagon version that I think was the original version, and then they released a square version to make the square a little bit bigger. So I just made a bunch of these squares, and I put I did, I think, that's 3 rows of the moss stitch as the border, and then I did a double crochet picot V stitch as the last row, which matches these picot stitches in the pattern itself. So I really like the way this turned out. I did a picot fan, treble picot fan on the ends here, to give it a little more of a flair. I like it. I love it. It's soft. I used Mandala, the Line Brand Mandala Ombre. It's the blue color. I don't know what the actual name is for the blues, and then I just used the Lion Brand Basic Stitch anti-peeling white yarn for the white. So that's one project that I finished. I was inspired to use this stitch for the shawl because of a different project that I finished for my husband. He wanted a poncho. It's an open style poncho, and I used this yarn from Knit Picks that I'm not really happy with it right now. I love the colors. I love the way it looks. It's a roving style yarn. I believe it's 80% wool, 20% nylon. Knit Picks Chroma worsted. I love the way the yarn looks, but it does not hold up well on like blankets or garments. And so as much as I love it, I don't think I can bring myself to buy it anymore because it's pretty pricey too. But I made these. They released some fall colors that I had to buy, of course, and I made all these granny squares with them, using that same like granny stitch and the treble crochet front post around the every other row, and then I put this together to create this poncho. It's pretty big, but I was inspired by this. Inspired me to use that stitch using a different yarn for this, and so I'm using Caron Simply Soft, using their variegated black and gray, and then their I believe this is the wine color for their oh, you know what? Correction, this is not Caron Simply Soft. This is Red Heart Soft. Red Heart Soft, and this is their variegated black and gray yarn, and this is their wine colored yarn. But I'm also working on, as you can see, I have Project ADHD. I really do have ADHD. I'm also working on a poncho, and so this I'm using Bagaday's pattern. It's just a simple pattern that Bagaday has a tutorial video for, and it really is just like you make like 203 chain stitches, and then you work from there on out, and then you make 2 panels, connect the panels, seam it up. So it's really simple. I'll make a link to the tutorial video. Really love Bagaday's videos. I also noticed Bagaday has a shawl on her channel as well that looks very similar to this. So I'll link that there too, in case you want to try and do this again. There are a few things that I do differently than what Bagaday does, but I believe the overall like repeat rows are pretty similar. When I'm done with this, I am going to add along the long side, this side here, I'm going to add a moss stitch. Really love the moss stitch, especially as a border stitch. It really makes it neat, ties things up really nicely. So I'm going to do a linen stitch along this long seam here, and then I'm going to do some scallops, some shell stitches, some scallops along these shorter edges, so that they flare out a bit. And I'm almost done. I think I'm maybe like 50% done now. I'll be finished before the weekend is over. Um, so those are a lot of the things that I'm currently working on. Um, I This channel is probably going to be very random. If anyone does watch these videos, I guess thank you, and if you find them entertaining, you can like and subscribe. But again, this is really just a project for me and my son, um, so that he can earn his own YouTube channel and develop those editing skills. It's really scary these days to think about letting your child have an online presence. There's so many things that parents have to be aware of that um, it's just scary. So I want to give him the ability to develop those skills, and while I get more comfortable with the thought of him creating a YouTube channel for himself. So maybe I'll do a more proper introduction video some other day, but I'll probably start showing more things that I'm making. I'll record myself doing some projects. I'll share some patterns that I really love. I love working off of patterns, finding new patterns that teach me how to do some things that I've known how to do in different ways, because one of the beautiful things about crocheting is that so many people have different ways of doing something that ends up looking similar, but maybe creates a little bit of a different style, and it's so beautiful to just constantly learn new stitches, new patterns, new ways of doing things. I still really enjoy knitting. Knitting is what I do to kind of just zone out and not have to think about things when I'm crocheting. I've never gotten to the point where I can really crochet without looking at what I'm doing. I've gotten really great at being able to knit without having to look at my work. And so that's something that I might share with y'all someday. I do have a ton of blankets that I've knitted over the years. Most of them I've given away, but I think I have pictures that I could probably create a little video to show y'all all the blankets that I've done. Maybe I'll rank them based on which ones I think I liked the most and which ones were just kind of meh. I don't think I'll ever make that again. But we'll see what that looks like. So again, I'm Chris. Thank y'all. And maybe there'll be more videos.